If you've been around video games for the last 10 to 15 years, you've probably been exposed to microtransactions in literally every single genre of every single game, from mobile games to your AAA shooters and even sports games. And as we all know, microtransactions have been pretty harmful to the gaming community as a whole, from predatory gambling tactics to FOMO, or even items that just in general help you advance through the game at an unfair advantage. We've seen it all. But just last week, there was an announcement from a gaming publisher that you've probably heard of before, known as Jagex. They produced this beautiful game that we all know and love called Runescape and Old School Runescape. And with Runescape coming up on 25 years old, you can probably guess that microtransactions have become an integral part of the game as we know it. And although the community has given a lot of pushback to Jagex for a very long time, that all changes literally this week. As you can probably guess, Jagex have realized that microtransactions have been really harmful to their game as a whole, putting it in a simple downward spiral. And because of this, they're looking at moving away from microtransactions that are harmful as a whole. But first, you'll probably want to know a little bit of history whenever it comes to RuneScape and microtransactions as a whole, and why there happens to be a second game known as Old School RuneScape. So real quick, let's hop over and figure out what exactly all of this means and the history of why microtransactions are so bad. The history of RuneScape is littered with a whole bunch of different controversy, but let's take it back to where it pretty much started. Back in 2012, the Squeal of Fortune was added to RuneScape as a gacha gambling mechanic. Essentially, it was a pop-up on screen that players didn't like because, well, you were gambling your money away. Literally. Now, as a player, you would get one free spin every single day, or if you were a member, you would get 2 free spins. But of course, you could purchase new spins for money. Not in-game money, but real life money. As shown here, you can see that you could purchase 10 spins for $5, or 200 spins plus an additional 250 free spins for $100 US. This of course did not sit right with a lot of players. Some of them straight up refusing to play the game, and some of them even rioting in game. There's a lot of history about that, and we can get into it later, but let's just say that a lot of people were very angry in game. But of course, that wasn't the only update to come by. In July of that same year, the Solomon's General Store was added in game as well, giving players the opportunity to purchase in-game currency for real-life money to purchase cosmetics. This by itself wasn't too big of a deal, but since the Squeal of Fortune had literally just been added a few months prior, it felt pretty bad to basically every single player. But of course, the final nail in the coffin had to have been the evolution of combat. Over the last few months, RuneScape was also beta testing a brand new combat system to be added into the game, which a lot of players did not like at all. And of course, it finally came into the game later in the year, which caused a lot of players to leave. After all 3 of these things happened, this was the great debacle of 2012 in RuneScape. And ever since then, RuneScape 3 has never really fully been able to recover. And because of this, Old School RuneScape has definitely become the more popular version of the game to play, boasting well over 150,000 players almost every single day. And not to mention, the reason Old School RuneScape even exists is because of this downfall of RuneScape 3. For, as you can guess, players simply were not logging on to RuneScape 3, forcing Jagex to make a decision. And you can probably guess, the ultimate decision led to the grand opening of Old School RuneScape, a true classic version of RuneScape as it was in 2007. But let's bring it back up to the present for a moment. As we can all see, microtransactions have had a massive impact on this game and its community. And I haven't even mentioned the issue from just last year known as the Hero Pass. So let's get into what Jagex really means and dissect this video that they posted just a few short days ago. Right off the bat, we get a very powerful and impactful message from the CEO of Jagex itself, saying, quote, "Our microtransaction approach is harming RuneScape, and it's time we took action," end quote. Those are some very powerful words coming from a very high-level official of a company. And as we all know, money is a thing a company needs to survive. So when a CEO of a company comes out and says that, hey, the way we're making money is bad and we know it and we're sorry, that truly means something. Moving forward in the video, the CEO talks about the game's health overall and how microtransactions have been negatively affecting it. So they have proposed some changes. Starting in July, they're going to disable Treasure Hunter for 2 weeks. This means that for that 2-week period, they're going to see the negative and positive impacts on Treasure Hunter being removed from the game entirely. And while doing so, they're going to be gathering data from players like you and myself to see how they can move forward with changes in the future. The next experiment will come later in August, when double XP is finally around in the game. This will disable microtransaction-based skilling items available in the game. And then finally in September, they plan on doing a cosmetic mega drop. This looks like it's going to be a massive drop of all different kinds of cosmetic items that are available directly for purchase, rather than having to use the treasure hunter and hopefully get what you want. These are 3 massive steps in the right direction, but of course, at the moment, they are all just promises. So the first thing that I can recommend that all of you do is give Jagex your true feedback on how you feel about these experiments. Simply logging in and enjoying the game for multiple hours throughout the week will definitely show Jagex that you're more interested in playing a game with less based microtransactions. Now, all of these things get me truly excited about RuneScape in the future, as these are just some small changes to microtransactions and not even about the core gameplay in the future. But let's pause for a moment and look at why this is going to be such a big change for the industry as a whole. With the move away from harmful microtransactions and more success hopefully to come, I'm hoping that other companies will finally catch on. This would be a huge win for consumers of games as a whole, since this would be the first massive shift to a healthier gaming space overall. Just to take a look at an example, the Federal Trade Commission just finished up with Fortnite to give back players $126 million for baiting their consumers to buy their products. While I don't necessarily think that RuneScape was this egregious, I still feel that it's an important point to make. If RuneScape is made an example of, and in the future continues to succeed, more gaming companies may follow suit. This could be a vital shift for the gaming industry to move away from predatory tactics in the future, giving the whole gaming space a better look, and hopefully guiding in more players in the future. Now, do I think this will happen overnight? Absolutely not. This change is gonna take time, and with some patience, hopefully see some massive success in growing RuneScape's player base. This may sound simple, but we all know that the road ahead is going to be long and risky, but I think Jagex can pull it off. We've looked at the reports on Jagex's income before, and as suspected, microtransactions make up a hefty margin of revenue. But I think over time, adding more microtransactions that don't ruin the core gameplay of the game will be the best shift to make, and I hope to see it shine brightly in the future. So for now, let's just give them a little bit of time, and hope that the best changes will be made in due time. What I can say is the best thing for you to do is go play the game. This will really show Jagex that the one thing that they need is more players, and the thing that they're going to get is more players. That is, if they stick to their promises. But Jagex, thank you so much for finally making this change. I know that it is a strong and heavy decision, but I think it's for the best. And from all RuneScape players and the gaming industry as a whole, we thank you for taking this risk. I hope to see it pay off very soon in the future. But for now, I'm going to head off. I have a new video coming out later this week, just as I normally do, so if you want to see that, please feel free to subscribe. Other than that, have a fantastic day, and I will see all of you later. Have yourself a great day, morning, or evening.